Hey everyone, this is Eitan from Handheld Sound, and I'm really excited showing you our new library for Kontakt, Scoring Mallets. Scoring Mallets is an orchestral sample library that includes premium Marimba, Vibraphone, and Xylophone. We recorded it in a beautiful scoring room, and it marks lots of exciting times at Handheld Sound right now, with a slew of new premier scoring libraries coming out all through this year and the next. A little bit behind the scenes, we've spent the last few years developing new technologies to utilize samples in ways that have been really underexplored before, and especially targeting next-generation playability, ergonomic design, and flexibility of sound options. Scoring Mallets goes beyond the premise of deeply sampled, and other than including 39,000 samples in it, it offers innovative tools for playability, paying attention to idiomatic techniques like trills, rolls, and multi-mallet playing styles. And a major feature that will appear in all future orchestral libraries from us is our new proprietary Acoustic Positioner that brings a totally new concept to position your virtual instruments around the stage. Okay, we've got the Marimba here in mixer mode, and in basic play mode you can play single notes and polyphonically. There's a lot of detail in the sound and also a really wide dynamic range. We used custom mallets, and it did two things for us. It kept the sound warm and round, but also brought a lot of punch and articulation, which is especially important in such a big space that you can still get an incredible amount of detail even when you move really far away from the instrument. So the mixer here is pretty straightforward. We have 4 mic positions, including a center channel, just because the marimba is such a physically large instrument. Then we have loose, stage, and wides, which is our outriggers. And these are stereo arrays. And by saying arrays, I mean it's more than just a left and right microphone. We often used a combination or a collection of microphones per position to get the detail we wanted. And also, that's really what makes our stage positioning tool work. The mixer offers true stereo panning. So you have a balance knob here that keeps things symmetrical, but then you can change the symmetry and place the instrument where you want. It's really important that you do that to get a real sense of space. All right, let's see what those microphones sound like. Things get interesting when using special articulations like dynamic rolls and trills. These are really customizable, so you get a lot of idiomatic control over the instruments. So what I'm doing here, I'm playing 2 notes in quick succession, and that triggers an automatic trill. And it also keeps the left and right hand consistent, so it plays consecutive hands, which really makes a big difference in context. Another thing that the trill engine can do is allow you to change the trilled notes and either enlarge or shrink the range. And you do that just by keep adding notes, and it just smoothly connects them. One of the most common playing techniques with mallet percussion is multi-mallets, holding 4 and sometimes 6 mallets together. I think that Scoring Mallets is the first library that is bringing this to the virtual instrument realm. Multi-mallets are extremely important in the mallet percussion repertoire, and they bring a lot of expressiveness, especially in modern music styles. Let's listen to one example. All right, once the 4-mallet feature is turned on, all you do is hold the sustain pedal as you play 4-note chords. If you keep holding down the pedal, the chord progressions will move legato, so you can either play block chords or use voice leading, and it's always going to keep things very fluid. We took the legato feature further. It also has a dynamic crescendo and diminuendo behavior based on the dynamics you play, so there are no sudden dynamic jumps when you move between chords. You just get these beautiful dynamic movements as you play chord progressions. You've heard this a little bit in our example previously, but let's play something else. Okay, before I show you the Acoustic Positioner tool, let's take a quick look at the interface. We'll move to the Vibraphone here. And the interface has two main areas, the top and the bottom. The top really gives you a lot of indication about how you're playing the instrument. We have two side tabs, Performance and Pattern, for the pattern sequencer. In Performance, you see when you're playing rolls, trills, glisses. You can set whether it's free running or synced to your host tempo. Over here with the 4 mallets, we have 4 modes. Basic is where each hand follows another. It's the most basic way to play a 4-mallet roll. Independent is where outer mallets and inner mallets alternate, so you get a more dense sound to it. Ripple is where each mallet gets their own turn, and it's sort of like an arpeggio. Simulate is allowing you to play 3-note chords and still trigger a 4-mallet roll. It just adds the 5th or the octave depending on what chord you're playing. The pattern is a pretty cool pattern sequencer. I'll show you that a little bit, but you can do polyrhythmic, ostinati, and even polyphonic. So it's very, very cool to create and generate melodic and harmonic material. The bottom section is pretty straightforward. We have 3 main tabs, the mixer, stage, and settings, where you've got lots of options to modify the way the instrument behaves. Velocity gives you complete control over variable and nonlinear dynamic setup, so you can really make sure that it responds well to your keyboard or to the style of your playing. You can also control the way that the modulation wheel adds dynamics. You can create velocity compression and velocity deviation, which is a randomization feature that applies when you play chords or a trill, roll, glissandi. It adds this extra layer of realism. All right, let's take a look at the Stage tab. When you're in the Stage tab, it enables the Acoustic Positioner tool. So a couple of things right off the bat. The mixer and stage modes operate exclusively from each other. So when you switch between them, the sound engine will update with the setup of the active mode. Another important concept is that inside the stage mode, you don't have direct access to all the individual microphone channels. All the audio streams work synergistically at all times, so it's impossible to recreate the stage sound from the mixer and vice versa. The Acoustic Positioner allows you to place the instrument around the scoring room, and it uses a proprietary time-based algorithmic design, so it's not using convolution or any other extra processing. So in that sense, it takes absolutely no additional CPU. All right, let's hear it. Alright, now this is not a glorified panner or room simulation. In fact, there is no panning mockups here at all. The Acoustic Positioner is algorithmic and uses phase, time, and balance differences that are a direct result of specific choices we made when miking the instruments and the room. Now, even with extreme settings, let's try this. The sonic outcome is completely natural and gives an authentic sense of space that's representative of actual acoustic behaviors in the room. You get complete control over imaging perspective and symmetry, which is really important, especially when you start mixing instruments together. There are quite a few options here. Right here at the top, you can choose between the original positioning that is default or your custom positions. You can A/B between them. You can snap between certain positions so you can use them as starting points. You can also change the mic topology. Right now it's set that the outriggers are wides, but you can also set that it's a surround setup, and in that case it'll respond to the output settings that you've set in Kontakt. You can flip the left-right perspective, and you can use something that we call width sync, which will basically collapse it to mono when you go minimum width. It doesn't sound very natural, but it works really well when you're using it with an external reverb. Okay, in closing, I wanted to show you the pattern sequencer, which you can access using the side tabs or a key switch. The pattern sequencer, you can use it to create polyphonic and polyrhythmic ostinato lines. Let's take a listen. Alright, this is it for the walkthrough. Be sure to check the site for demos and more info, and join our mailing list. It's the only way you can be the first to get in on any kind of special deals and offers. See you next time.